Okay, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. And my name is Greg Gamble, and I know in Zoom the lighting's not very good, so I look very dark with this mask on. But this is the first time we've ever presented simultaneously a Zoom meeting and in a room with an audience as well. So bear with me. I will tell you, for the Zoom attendees, you will see that there is a chat button. If you have a question during the presentation, feel free to type in your question into chat. You're also all on mute right now, and if you would like to ask a question, you can click to unmute yourself, or you can hold down your space bar to unmute yourself. So one of those two options, and we're happy to answer questions. I'm going to present our plan, and then we'll have a time for question and answer directly after. So the property is being considered for development by CPS Land, and it's approximately 58.6 acres located just north of Old Charlotte Pike. It is directly to the west of New Mac Hatcher, and you can see the location of the Mac Hatcher right away that's under construction now, shown in this black dashed line. The property is currently not in the city of Franklin. Through this process, we're asking that the property be annexed into the city. This is a map from Envision Franklin, the city of Franklin's land use plan. This map is a tool used by the Planning Commission to identify those properties that are more suitable or less suitable for development. The less suitable may be that utilities are not nearby, or that there are environmental constraints on the property that might prevent it from being developed, or it's in an area on the outer edges of our urban growth boundary that the city would like to see in a more rural context. This property is identified as the most suitable for development, meaning that it is directly adjacent to an existing sewer line that has capacity for additional growth. It has city available water, and is in close proximity to Mac Hatcher, a new major arterial roadway. Several months ago, we talked to you about the City of Franklin's Collector Road and Major Thoroughfare Plan. The line shown here in brown going north-south is the alignment of the Collector Road that's currently in the Major Thoroughfare Plan. The Major Thoroughfare Plan was adopted around 2009 and continues to be updated. It's a living, breathing document. So sometimes we don't get it right the first time. Planning Commission will consider a revision to it, they'll consider a change to it. What they want in the Major Thoroughfare Plan is a collector road that goes north and south. Now, how it moves north and south is something that really becomes a conversation with property owners, with landowners, with developers. It is a plan that is a guide, and the roadways that are shown on here are the collector roads and arterial roads. Those roads are built incrementally as development occurs and as development happens. The responsibility of CPS Land is to construct the collector road from one end of the property to the other end of the property, from property boundary to property boundary. There is no requirement of CPS Land to continue the construction of that road north. And the alignment that you're seeing here in yellow is an alignment that we have met with the engineering department on and discussed with them. The radiuses that are shown here and those turning movements are within the tolerances of a collector road, meaning that a speed of 35 miles per hour can be maintained safely. This is our proposed master plan, and the proposal is for a hamlet neighborhood within the conservation subdivision design policy. Conservation design policy mandates that 50% of the property be left in open space. That open space can be common areas like a park. It can be fields used for horses. In our plan, we have 5 farmsteads. Those farmsteads are around 2 acres in size. A farmstead would have a maximum building coverage of about 7,500 square feet and could include a house, a barn, a shed, and an accessory dwelling unit if you wanted a pool house or a senior suite. Those farmsteads will be allowed to have some livestock, and we're going to control what livestock can go there, but potentially 1 or 2 horses, chickens. We've discussed llamas potentially, but they would be restricted from having cattle or pigs. And the farmsteads are designed to reflect the character of Old Charlotte Pike and what's there today. Old Charlotte Pike has been identified by the Heritage Foundation of Williamson County as a heritage road. And so we want to be respectful of that. You'll notice on the master plan that there's a requirement for a 150-foot landscape buffer from the right-of-way of Old Charlotte Pike to the north. That same 150-foot buffer is applied to the south as well. So both sides of Old Charlotte Pike are to be left in a landscape buffer for 150 feet. Our distance is about 240 feet to the hamlet, the closest lot there. This is an illustration of what we see the farmstead would look like. You can see the main house and then the barn to the back of the lot. So for those farmsteads, we have respectful distances adjacent to the existing Hamilton Brown historic house that is on Old Charlotte Pike. And we'll be providing not only a farm field landscape buffer adjacent to that home and the property line there, but also a setback of 100 feet. The access road that you see here going in will, from Old Charlotte to the tree line will be a little bit different than a traditional subdivision street in Franklin. We're proposing to have a 12-foot asphalt trail on one side of it for pedestrians. And we're proposing to have a 2-lane, 11 or 22-foot wide road for this section from Old Charlotte Pike to the tree line. Again, creating more of a rural context and rural character there for the farmsteads and adjacent to the historic home. Then adjacent to our eastern boundary, we're proposing a 30-foot landscape buffer that will be planted with deciduous and evergreen trees native to the Middle Tennessee region. That 30-foot area would be an open space area and would not be owned by an individual or by a future homeowner. It would be homeowner association area that would be maintained by the collective whole. And so trees cannot just be simply removed at the homeowner's wishes. Those would have to be addressed by the homeowners association. At the top here, you see an example of what that landscape buffer would look like. It's a pretty intense landscape buffer, but really meant to create a sense of privacy for the new homeowners and for our adjacent neighbors as well. To the north, along the northern property boundary, then we have an area that is approximately 165 foot wide that is set aside for a reforestation area. Again, this area would be native tree species, understory trees that are native to the Middle Tennessee area and will kind of enhance the wildlife corridor along that northern boundary. We didn't get all the slides, did we, Matt? So on our plan, we're showing a total of 5 homestead lots. We have 31 single-family detached homes that are on lots that are approximately 65 feet in width. Those are on the outside edges, and those front onto the interior streets. We have 71 homes that are served by an alley from behind, very similar to what you would see at West Haven. Those are also single-family detached homes, and those are on the pink-colored lots that are there on the interior. Focused around our swimming pool amenity, our clubhouse, our 50 townhomes, those are attached. Again, picking up from the character of West Haven, but on a much, much smaller scale, really to give architectural definition to that open space area. You'll notice on the right, we have townhomes that have sidewalks that front right out onto that open space. So they don't have a street directly in front of them. They can walk right out into the park. That open space area then is really set up to be the front yard, the place where socialization happens, the place where gatherings can occur. We will have open space for a park. We'll have our playground. We will have restrooms and cabanas and shade structures for by the swimming pool. We're continuing to refine our architectural character, but what we like about these images that you're seeing here is that history and the history of Middle Tennessee architecture is married with some more contemporary and modern windows and window framing, but the materials are lasting, timeless materials, including stone, board and batten siding, hardy board, lap siding. One emphasis that you can see from this photograph is we're putting a great emphasis on the front porch, on having a place where you have a private space, but you still relate to the kind of the public realm and the street realm as well from your home. Equally as important to us in this plan is the landscape. The landscape is critical to creating the character and identity of this community. You can see here on the bottom left photo that here we have fully landscaped front yards. One, that's low maintenance. You're not having to mow the yard all the time, but two, it creates a very inviting streetscape. Not only is the landscape important for each individual home, but also for the common areas. You'll see probably more trees planted here than most subdivisions in Franklin because we want that shade. We want that cool, inviting park spaces where people can gather. So with that, Rob Pease with CPS Land is here in the room with us. Matt Huff is a landscape architect that works with me. Diana Tomlin is with the City of Franklin, and she's planning staff, and she's kind of helping us run the meeting. But we're here to answer questions that you may have. Matt Huff is going to be monitoring the Zoom, and if someone types in a question on chat, we will get to it as quickly as we can. So we're going to open it up to questions now, and I'm happy to flip back to any slide that you'd like me to. Diana, I'm not sure I have the volume turned up on this computer to hear if someone speaks, so chat may be the best way to communicate with us. Questions, thoughts, comments?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
How does that connect? Does the north connect the road? Oh.
Yes, let me flip back to the yellow dashed line here. So we have figured out that this alignment that we're showing there does meet the geometry that the City of Franklin requires for a collector road. It doesn't necessarily have to follow that. So if you decide someday that you want to develop your property and you want that yellow line to move out a little bit further or change directions a little bit, that's okay. We haven't fully figured out all the rest of the puzzle because we're not making assumptions that we have access to your property to design that road. We know that that alignment would work, and that's a successful alignment. But the major thoroughfare plan is a guideline, and it's to give us guidance that we want a road going from the north to the south. We went to the board and mayor and alderman meeting several months ago, and they said that they did not want a road proposed on the major thoroughfare plan going through the Gentry Farm. This property here in purple is the Gentry Farm. So we had to figure out how to satisfy engineering and how to satisfy the board and mayor and alderman to get a road that's going north-south. It does need to go through your property, and I believe that you would probably benefit from that sometime in the future by having that collector road if you were to develop the property. If you decide you don't want to, then that road really stops where it is.
The problem with the connector road going up, you just chopped off a little
Okay.
This is a farm. What are you gonna do with this little pond? I know, you said it, but to develop, if we're farming it, how do we get,
No one is going to build that road unless you say, I want the road built, or a developer who has your property under contract and buys it from you develops that road. The city's not going to build that road. CBS Land is not going to build that road. That road will not be built until your property is developed.
I understand.
Okay.
That's your opinion. We have been through eminent domain. We have 3 sewer lines through us. We have backhatcher through us. Lord knows, gas line through us, and it had to be moved backhatcher. We have been chopped up. Oh, and pump station took an acre and something off the home back there.
Okay.
And this is a Century Farm as well.
Yes,
The Gentry Farm is lovely, but the Short Farm is a Century Farm as well, recognized by the state of Tennessee.
Okay.
And, at this point, when that road goes north, it has to go through our property. Unless there's a shift right now in that yellow line in this proposed development.
because your development is dumping in on, but looks like it might dump on the short farm.
Sure. And I think, I mean, Rob, we're willing to look at
Yeah.
options and talk through that.
Chance to talk to Lynn briefly, Lee briefly, and we're open to looking, we understand your concern, and so we'd love to get back together and talk some more about how to address it, so.
Yeah, I think we can spend some time on that issue for sure.
Will you repeat the questions as they're asked? Zoom
Yes.
users can't hear the questions.
Yes, the question was, that was just asked was, are there alternatives, options? What happens with the short property in this top corner here in the future if that road was constructed? And we're going to spend a little bit more time with the shorts, talking with them specifically about that and looking at some options for you as well. For sure. Okay. Yes, sir.
Tom Sutcliffe. I don't live in Franklin, I live in the property, but I'm one of the county commissioners. And I got a few things I want to say concerning this. I'm not sure, I guess my thing is, I'm not sure why it has to be built at all, first of all. I have Sandy on the property and want to do something with it. I think it's disruptive to a lot of things. It's disruptive to Gentry, it's disruptive to Shorts. I think it's very disruptive to that southern side for the benefit of way too many homes in a dense area. I live in Brentwood, you gotta have 1 acre, most of them are acre lots, I know it's the ORCD stuff, but that's ludicrous, the amount of homes we're putting in there for those 56 or 57.
And we've argued that a local street would be appropriate, but the city engineering department disagrees with us. They are anticipating the development of this area that is north and west of McHatcher for future annexation and future development with the city of Franklin. So they're looking at creating an interconnected network of collector roads for traffic distribution.
I ride down 96 every weekend on my motorcycle. I'm too lazy to ride a bicycle. So when I get near that area, in that intersection, I'm already hitting West Haven ungodly traffic and close to getting killed several times by people not watching what they're doing. So now we're going to add another, 157 times 1.88 cars.
So
That's the national average on cars.
So the question is
That's another 300 cars.
the question is about our traffic impacts and the addition of vehicles to the road. I have to repeat the question for the Zoom viewers who are listening. So the city of Franklin has a very rigorous program for traffic analysis, and we are following that process. We have to hire a traffic engineer who does a full evaluation of our traffic counts and our impacts to the roadway network. That traffic report is then submitted to a third-party traffic engineer that CPS Land has to pay for. That third-party traffic engineer then goes back to the City of Franklin engineers and says, I've reviewed that traffic analysis that they've submitted. These are the improvements that need to be made to the roadway network. If the collector road impact fees or arterial road impact fees that are required by the City of Franklin can be used toward on-site road improvements, then they would. If they can't, or it's an improvement that benefits just CPS Land, they're responsible to pay for and build that road improvement. It's unlike any other municipality in the state of Tennessee, the amount of rigor that the city has put on traffic analysis. They want to make sure that if a development is coming in, a proposed development is coming in, that they mitigate those impacts. So it's taken very seriously, and that is being evaluated now. I don't have a conclusion for you today as to what improvements will be made or need to be made. What I do know is that we're complying with the collector road improvement that the city is asking for.
Last few comments.
Yes, sir.
Well, one's a comment, one's a question. I'll ask a question first. What has Williamson County Schools looked at the number of homes, the average number of children, and said, we're fine, we're not gonna have to build another school anytime soon?
They have. I've got the school data for, generally speaking, this area. The middle school and the elementary school is about 80% capacity now. They're anticipating that in the next 4 years, they will have completed West Haven High School, and they will be distributing students who are currently going to Independence High School or Franklin High School in this area to the new West Haven High School. So yes, sir, they have taken that into consideration and are comfortable with the addition of the homes that we're proposing here.
My last little comment. I don't live anywhere near that. I love it. I love the Shorts property, it's stunning. I love the Gentry's farm, it's stunning. It's special to me, and I don't want to see this area altered in any way, shape, or form. It's going to ruin that. My children grew up at Gentry's farm. My favorite pictures of that silly pumpkin patch, and my kids sitting on that Gentry truck. And I know you're going to say they can still do it. It's not the same. The development in that area has gotten out of hand. The Gentrys have been through just as much as the Shorts have with water lines. I found out this week there's a 30-inch line coming through their property. It's got to end at some point. And I know this meets the county's new town and country plan and whatnot, but no plan is perfect. We know that. This is causing some serious challenges with that area and two very historic farms in our county. And part of the town and country plan was to maintain that rural feeling. We're losing, if you do this, the rural feeling on two extremely important properties in Williamson County. And that's why I'm here today.
Sir, could you repeat your name?
Tom Tunnicliffe.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for us?
I'd like to be included in this historic thing, because we have maybe the oldest house in any county, and Century Farms, Farms. And most of that land was probably originally part of this, the historic land that was there.
Yes,
It
sir.
is still there. And then to the minister's point, it's been intact all these years. I understand there's lots of development. I'm a developer myself. I'm also concerned with, this much intensity and the destruction of what's somehow or another managed to be pretty pristine for up to this point in time. And I understand the landowner that purchased it, who said he was saving it from development, and has requested being annexed into the city. So it's not like people of us who live in the county do it. Yeah, but I just want to make sure that we're not lost in this discussion about the historic farms as well, because we're sort of right in the middle of it.
Right.
You put it all together, all one big piece.
Right, and we want to be respectful to you, want to be respectful to the Shorts and respectful to the Gentrys and Montgomery and Wynn. No, I appreciate that comment. I think it's important. We don't believe that we are proposing a plan here that's as aggressive as it probably could be. We have buffers and distances from the development and the proposed hamlet to not only your property, but to other properties that's probably more generous than is required. And we're open to continuing.
I agree. As far as our
Yeah.
Obviously, and I've spoken to you about it, my concern is that road that you said the fire department was requiring, it's a huge boulevard, and will go right beside our property, and I don't even think you need it.
So this is the road as we've illustrated it. We've had an artist kind of illustrate this for us. It's going to be a 2-lane, 22-foot wide asphalt road with swales on both sides. Instead of having a sidewalk, pedestrian sidewalk on your side, we're going to have a 12-foot asphalt path for pedestrians on the left side. And
I like what you're doing.
so we're really just changing the dynamics there along Old Charlotte Pike.
I
Yeah.
just want to go on record and say, I don't know if it's really me, when I look at your plan, and I just wanted to offer that to the.
We started out not having it.
City and ask for that not to be part of the plan.
Yeah.
That was not the original plan.
Right, correct.
That's all I want to go on record. So
Thank you.
I know you're trying to be as sensitive as possible to your time, but I'm not criticizing that.
I understand.
I'm not sure that it's something that you really need to have, I'm not sure it's something you really want, other than it's being required.
I think we can still have the farmstead lots and I can do it without that road connection, but that's an opinion that I have and other people disagree with me.
Yeah, I guess you're not sure.
Matt, we have a question?
Yes. How can you reassure the Gentrys and the Shorts that Old Charlotte Road will not have to be widened to accommodate a turn lane where it meets Highway 96, thus taking more of their farms?
We have a traffic analysis that has been prepared. It's been submitted to the City of Franklin Engineering Department today. That the engineering department is reviewing that, and we'll have more information soon on that. I don't have an answer to that question today. Yes, sir.
Hey, Scott Gentry.
Yes, Scott.
This is not the brick and mortar city. It just seems, us and the Shorts and Bill, it's like we find out about stuff last. I found out about West Haven when I got a knock on the front door and the guy said they need to put a seismograph in your front yard for the lift station. Show us some respect.
Yeah.
Include us before you draw this. We make it help. We're obviously vehemently against it for what Bill said. There's too much density. You take these two historic homes and stick this between it. You don't see those anymore. So,
We think it'll be pretty well.
We're vehemently against any of it. I could spend 30 minutes telling y'all that Shorts and us have been through for development. We don't get anything but the short end of the stick. At least get in front of it
Sure.
with us and say, hey, here's what we're looking at. Nope, I think it's found out about it in the paper or somewhere else.
No, and we did very early on. We may not have met with you, but we did meet with some of your family members to talk about a plan. This is probably the 5th version of the plan that we've had because we have been getting input from neighbors.
I just talked about you and the staff, city staff, doing all this. Include us.
We want it to be transparent. That's why we're here tonight, but we've really tried to engage you previous to this. We would love to sit down with you.
Some of this rub goes back across Street West.
I understand.
I've got a long list I'm not going to worry about it with.
We'd like to turn over a new leaf and have a transparent conversation with you if you're open to it. We're happy to do that. Yes, Matt?
Okay, another question. How will Old Charlotte Pike accommodate the additional traffic going to the second entrance near the Barkley property? There's a narrow bridge there.
Historic abutments are also.
Yeah. Are we doing anything on that bridge? Is that what's being discussed in the traffic analysis?
I don't know what the traffic report, so I'm thinking what's discussed.
Yeah, because it's classified as a heritage road by the Heritage Foundation. We'd like to leave Old Charlotte Pike as much as we can the way that it is. There may be some improvements to that bridge, but we're not sure yet. So that's still kind of a work in progress too. But if there are requirements that the bridge be widened or expanded, that may need to happen.
Please,
That's going to happen. You can't, two cars go past.
Okay.
and please make a note that the old stone abutments, historic old bridge is there, most of it's there underneath the existing. I think that's something you gotta deal with. I don't think you want to spend anything there.
Yeah. Okay.
It's only been there for about 250 years.
Right.
This is on the historic commission's list for a reason.
Yeah, we're aware of that. Yes, sir.
Quick question, you may not know the answer to. I'm just interested party that lives on the other side of the river. Charlotte Pike, what are they gonna do at Mac Hatchery with Old Charlotte Pike?
Sure.
Are they ever gonna open that end back up?
Yeah, I can talk about that. So the question is, what happens to Old Charlotte Pike at Mac Hatcher? On the east side, it will be a cul-de-sac that turns into the school's parking lot and the Williamson County property to the north. On the west side, there at the Shorts property, there will be a right in, right out onto Mac Hatcher. So from Old Charlotte Pike, you'll be able to either take a right turn or you'll be able to take a right in.
Okay, so what you're gonna pick up all the Hillsborough Road traffic's gonna cut through there now and come out on 96. That's gonna be fun. That involves me at that point too, so.
I'm not following you.
They're gonna come down on Hillsborough, or come down Hillsborough Road.
Right in, right out will be right here. This will be a cul-de-sac.
What he's saying, coming from the north, they're gonna take a shortcut.
Come over to Hillsborough Road is what I was talking about, sir.
All the way to right.
Yeah, Hillsborough Road's over here.
Sorry, I said that wrong.
Oh,
Yeah, Old Hillsborough Road's up here.
Okay. Mac Hatcher crossing right there, isn't that not Hillsborough Road?
Mac Hatcher crosses the Delio site.
On the east, on the far east.
That's Hillsborough.
Hillsborough Road.
Hillsborough Road.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, why would they not get off there on Old Charlotte and come around and get off 96 to go to West Haven?
Well, just because the easier flow would be to come to the traffic signal and turn to the right.
That's what I'm talking about.
They won't do it.
Yeah, I don't know why they would cut through Old Charlotte to get to West Haven.
We heard the same thing with West Haven when developed, that they won't be using this road and then it's a racetrack.
They will.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
cut it
Old
out.
Charlotte's gonna be a fine. You know what?
I think they use it now, or they did, before it was cut off by Mac Hatcher, because Mac Hatcher wasn't built yet and they were looking for alternative routes around 96. But with Mac Hatcher installed, I think you'll have a different picture there. Yes, ma'am.
I see what you're saying there. I don't agree with you.
Okay. You have a question?
I have a question about the capacity of the pump station.
Okay.
With the additional homes that are being built in West Haven.
Yes, ma'am.
Utilizing that. And then these homes, I know, I believe there was a study that was, West Haven was doing, it was coming up due to the city as far as impact.
Yes,
Do you all know any more about that?
we do. So the question is there capacity at the pump station that's there now? And what we do understand is that, yes, there is capacity for the additional homes that West Haven is proposing and the homes that we're proposing here.
But the ultimate plan is it goes to Cleveland Waters. This one goes away.
Yeah, the ultimate plan is for the pump station to go away and it to move north. It'll follow the natural gravity of the land as it slopes toward the Harpeth River. So eventually it would move north as development would occur.
Me.
You are. Matt, are there any other questions on? Do y'all have any further questions? We are not going to be submitting this plan next week. We're going to be submitting it a month from now. And the reason that we're doing that is we want to continue this dialogue. I understand you have some concerns. I also understand that you haven't seen the traffic report yet, and you're probably very interested in what it says. We'd like to just stay in touch with you if that's okay. Continue the conversation, continue to answer your questions. If there are things you want us to continue to study, I know Rob's open to that as well. So we'll get back in with your family and talk with you about the road alignment. If you'll make sure that we have your contact information. Thanks, Bill. If you'll just make sure that we have your contact information.
Can I just add something to this?
So the purpose of a neighborhood meeting is so that Greg can come here and let you all know what the developer wants to do and keep you informed in front of that. So the concerns that you gave to him tonight, he's gonna go and work on. But those concerns also need to be voiced when we get to planning commission, when we get to board of mayor and aldermen, so that they are hearing that and not just Greg, because this meeting is not intended for the city. This is for you all to have dialogue with the developer. You have some very real concerns, and I want to make sure that they're heard. So please make sure either through voicemails, emails, or show up in person at those planning commission meetings at BOMA, all the different opportunities that are there for you to make your voice known. And I haven't been with the city that long. I want to apologize that West Haven, you felt was forced down your throat. I was in Franklin a long time back and remember that did seem at the time like it was something really pushed on the community. Hopefully we're doing a better job now in trying to communicate with the public what's going on. State law requires that we notify by newspaper what's going on. That needs to be updated, and hopefully that will pass in the state legislature someday to create a better forum to truly let people know what's going on. Because I don't know anybody that reads a newspaper anymore. So we do need to work on that. We realize that.
Well, thank you all very much for your time tonight. And I hope you still have my email address there in the letter that I sent out. So feel free to email me as well. Thank you.